We are not a business that is looking to expand as quickly as we can and make as much money as we can. We want to give the F&B scene here a bit of a change whereby you get good food at a reasonable price with good service. That is, I feel, something that's lacking. And given our following, we are in good position to do that. It basically started from that idea. I think a lot of us have is, we want to start our own cafe, we want to own our own restaurant, have a very simple restaurant whereby you can have friends come hang around. But while we were doing research on coffee, we were researching on food as well, because we know that every cafe needs a form of food, either in the form of a main meal or a dessert to function. Because we have no culinary training, one of the most basic food group that we went for was burgers. I used to cook it for friends' party and whatnot, and people say, oh, it's not bad. So that's the reason why I went in that direction. While we abandoned the cafe idea, we kind of moved along with the burger idea. And at that time, I thought back into the summers while I was studying in uni. So during that summer holiday, I would go to the States under a program called Work and Travel USA. While traveling, I saw that there was this trend in America that was very popular at that time, which was cook-to-order burgers. I tried it and I thought that the burgers were fantastic. It was amazing. At that time, at the back of my head, I was thinking, someone should do this, someone should bring this to Malaysia. I never thought it would be me, but just at the back of my head, I knew that it's something that Malaysians would appreciate. Fast forward 2-3 years from that point of time, when I graduate, I found myself in that position. And I was like, hey, I want to do burgers, and I saw this trend in America. Why don't we be that person that, bring that in? To start off, me and Chang Ming got together first by talking about what business we want to get into. So burger was the business that we want to get into. And then at that point in time, we realized that 2% is not enough to run this show for something that we want to do. And we roped in Wicket, who is our numbers guy. And basically, because both of us are engineers, so we need Wicket to come in to do the accounts. When he came back, nothing much was done. Me and Chang Ming, we basically cooked at home, tested a few recipes, nothing too great. But in the meantime, we were working at my friend's restaurant. It's called the Red Beanbag in Publica. We told our friend that we want to open up a cafe or a restaurant or some sort of our own, and if we could work in his place to gain some experience, and he was cool with it. So when Wicket came in, he actually said, okay, it's time to get down to business. How should we start? He suggested that we try what is called a lean startup methodology. So basically, you spend as little money as possible, you do as many testing as possible, you fail as much as possible, and you learn from that and try to grow as fast as possible. So given the scenario that we were in, the Red Beanbag was open for breakfast and lunch only at that point in time. So we talked to the owner, my friend Yu Kyung, and we asked him, can we rent your restaurant at night to do testing? Can we, basically set up a pop-up restaurant in your restaurant? And he said yes. So for a very minimal price, he actually rented us the restaurant. We budgeted about 10 sessions. For our first session, we invited friends, close friends, to come and try our creation. We didn't really went back to the States and try to research again. It didn't make sense. We had a limited budget. So what we did was basically use Google. We actually researched online and say we want to cook American style burgers. Given the engineering background, we were very methodical and we were breaking things down into variables. How can we play with different variables to achieve different results? And that's also how the name came about. On our very first session was also the very first time I baked buns. It was very naive. We just got the recipe online. Basically just said, how hard can this be? And we went with it. The result wasn't something to shout about. It wasn't too bad either. But from the feedback that we got very detailed feedbacks from our friends. We analyzed it, we broke down all the components and see where we could make changes. So every session into our R&D, we actually got better and better very quickly. By the 7th session, we had 10 sessions. It was not all consecutively. It was sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week. We have an estimate of what we want, and people were saying this is a really good burger. You should start selling it.
All our friends told us about it and we were really interested.
Apparently it's the best, it's good, it's excellent, it's amazing, I love you guys.
It's the best burger in town. It's probably the best burger in town, especially you have to try the Hulk.
This place has really big awesome burgers that are made fresh, and there's a lot of varieties, and the best thing is you can make it vegetarian.
So I was shopping for baking ingredients one day, and I saw this little jar or vessel of black powder. So I basically asked the shopkeeper, what is this? What does this do? And they said, it's charcoal powder. And I guess, from there, the rest is history. We kind of just added a little bit of it into our buns for our 8th session of R&D, and we got really mixed reaction. There were people who refused to eat it. There were people like, wow, this looks awesome. They took pictures of it. People started sharing the photos. People started, Instagramming it, and that's when we saw a very quick jump in fans. People were asking, where can I get this? How can I get this? Or where are you guys open? So we wrapped up the 9th and the 10th session with full bookings. Right after we finished our R&D session, that's when we started looking for locations. We were almost about to settle for a location in Uptown, actually, until one night we drove past this place and we saw this whole road that was empty. The whole row of shop lot was pitch black except for this one. We came to check out the place and we were a little bit taken aback because it was relatively small, but we were sold by the price, We wanted to be very open and very honest about our business. Since day one, it was a very lively family feel between the customers and the staff and the owners, because, like I said, it started off with everyone that we knew coming in to support us. So naturally, we took the approach of being very personal with our, well, I don't like to use the word fans, but I guess, on a fan page, it is fans. And we kind of just ran with it because we realized that people were saying how, it's weird if we say this, they were saying how humble we were, and how approachable we were.
What's different with myBurgerLab is that it's more than just burgers. It's the whole experience, and not just like the queuing up and everything else, but it's also about their social networks and how they're really trying to get to the people by their Twitter, and they really interact with their followers. So that's what I like about myBurgerLab.
We understand that we're in the food business, so for us, the food comes first. We got our basics right. We make sure that every burger that comes out looks what we call Instagrammable. That's what I tell the staff, make sure it looks good. So when we get that basic right, we try to get our front of house service right, meaning that people that is on the floor, we want them to speak good English. We want them to be approachable. If you're saying a restaurant is an experience, you want the interaction with your staff to be on a very personal level, where you can understand them, where you can actually relate to them. We hire specific groups of people for our staff, mainly students, 95% students.
Awesome, yeah.
Awesome.
Don't give that answer on his t-shirt.
Alright. Oh, not vicious.
Don't give the answer on your t-shirt.
Innovative.
So once we get the food and the in-store service correct, we started attacking the social media side. So we went online, we scoured the Instagram, Twitters, blogs, and tried to read up on why we're not doing well, or what we were doing wrong. But the good ones, we would thank them, for their feedback and whatnot. So that's where the interaction started, and that's where it worked for us, because we started serving better burgers than it was before. And the other one that we noticed was people were actually happy that they got a response from us. They were like, well, you guys actually care about your product. Right now, we have a centralized kitchen that starts work at around 9 a.m. in the morning. What it does is, on a daily basis, they will bake the buns fresh, they will grind the meat, they will basically prepare everything else from scratch. Well, apart from growing our own vegetables and making our own cheese, I think everything else, we try to do it ourselves. So once everything is packaged, they finish work at around 4 o'clock, but the food is delivered at around 2 to 3 p.m. over to our store. So someone in the store here will start work at around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and that's when they receive the stock and they start preparing. They'll basically just make sure everything's in place, check the inventory, make sure everything is good to go. We need about 2 persons to set up, and by 4 p.m. The rest of the crew, about 10 to 11 of them will come in, and that's where they start cleaning up the store, arranging the tables, and basically just making sure, just double checking on everything, start heating things up. At exactly 4:30 to 4:45, we'll cook a couple of burgers for testing, just to make sure that that day everything was consistent. So at 4:45, we'll sit down together, we'll have a briefing. Basically, we'll talk about what happened the day before, if any mistakes was made, or if anyone did a good job, anything. Feedbacks are given and received, and then that takes about 5 to 10 minutes. After that, we'll go to the kitchen, we prepare, and within 1-2 minutes, we'll open the doors at 5 o'clock, and then That's basically just madness from 5 to 10. You know, we just keep pumping out burgers.
Next round, all the way, all the way. Score is 10-2.
Describe myBurgerLab in one word.
Crazy, really good,
Tasty.
awesome, delicious.
Excellent, best, creamy, soft, sophisticated. So good.
For us, the company that came out with myBurgerLab is actually called Kitchen Chemistry. The idea is actually bigger than just a burger joint. You know, if the market responds well, we will have more. But in KL, the way I see it, given our price range and given our need to control quality and to control our culture, that's the most important part for us. In terms of future of myBurgerLab, we will have enough to serve the people of KL, and then we'll decide if we want to go to Penang, Johor, or or even Singapore, wherever. But you know, those are too far ahead for me to say anything right now. But any business owner will tell you they want their business to grow as big as possible. But for us, it's the same concept, only in a controlled manner. Just by dumping money into it, I can replicate a lot of stores, but I can't replicate the culture, I can't replicate the quality. Like I said, this store was meant to make 150 burgers a day. We're selling 600 now. And in between that, it was a very steep learning curve for us. BurgerLab will be around to stay, but you will see more concept stores from us in the future. I foresee this to be a 10-20 year business. I want this to be a 10-20 year business. And F&B, to say you survive 5 years is just the start. I guess at the end of the day, for us, it was making do with what we had. And a lot of it was, you know what, if there's a problem, there's always a solution to it, you just gotta find it. We got popular so quickly, mainly because of the black bun, but I am glad that we set our foundation right, which is to get the flavors right first before we created a gimmick. The gimmick, I admit, you know, the gimmick, which is the black bun, is there simply for the fact that we want people to start talking about us very, very quickly. But after a while, people were not talking about the black bun, they were talking about how good it tasted to them. And yeah, so here we are today.